In the villages of Maharashtra, there's a rhythm that defines life. It's the sound of labor, the hum of resilience, and, for a brief moment each year, the melody of celebration. Bail Pola, the festival that stops the village in its tracks. Here, for 3 days, time itself seems to slow down as the people of Mhalunge Padwal come together to honor the animals that share their burdens. Suraj and Ketaki, like many, have come not just to witness the spectacle, but to understand it. They come from different corners of the state, from places where the fast-paced hum of city life often drowns out the quiet pulse of rural tradition. And yet, here they are, standing in awe of a world that is not their own, but somehow feels familiar. In their quiet observation, there's a sense of reflection, of witnessing a community that pauses to breathe, to remember what matters beyond the fields, beyond the daily grind. They watch as the village sheds its everyday burdens, if only for a moment, and steps into a rhythm of celebration that feels timeless.
They say, in the heart of the village, where fields meet sky, a grand celebration erupts, where the earth shakes not with labor, but with joy. For in this festival, it is not just the bulls that are honored, but the spirit of a people who, for one brief moment, let their burdens fall and dance in the rhythm of the land.
For the next 3 days, Mhalunge Padwal will forget the fields, the sweat, the toil. Here, in the shadow of the mountains, they will celebrate the bond between man and beast, family and field, a bond forged in the rhythms of this land.
Today, the village celebrates. And in that celebration, they find a brief escape from the weight of the world. And so too do those who come to watch. Today we follow Ketaki and Suraj in their experience of the festival. Not every story is easy to tell. Some pieces of history remain elusive, tucked away in the past like whispers carried by the wind. The grand mountain of Holi, its ancient remnants, and the stories of the old Mahalunge Padwal could not be captured through lens this time.
Though this Bhairavath temple is an important part of it, it's one of the 5 lingas which gave the village its name.
In the heart of all this sound, the laughter, the drums, and the noise of celebration, Suraj stands still. A different person now, perhaps. But as he watches, something stirs beneath the surface. Maybe it's the rhythm of the land calling to him, or the echo of a connection he hadn't realized was there. In this village, in this moment, he's caught between worlds, the life he knows, and the life he's witnessing. The festival is loud, vibrant, but in his stillness, he feels something deeper, an understanding of a place where tradition and history merge. For Ketaki this isn't new, as it's part of her roots, where the land itself seems to sing in unison with the people.
Here, in these simple village rites, you can feel the heartbeat of the community. The joy is unfiltered, untouched by the complexities of life. For the children, this is their world, a fleeting moment of wonder amidst the everyday routines. For the adults, it's a reminder of a time when life was just as simple, just as joyful. And in these moments, it's not just the festival or the tradition that matters. It's the joy of living, the fleeting freedom found in the swing of a rope or the turn of a carousel, that binds the people of Mahalunge Padwal together.
As the night settles over the village, the market comes alive with a different kind of energy. Under the cover of dusk, the streets hum with the sounds of trade and laughter, as families gather to browse the stalls, their hands full of brightly colored wares. It's a reminder that, even in celebration, life continues in its ordinary rhythm.
The market is not just a place of commerce, but a meeting point, where people come together to share stories, exchange goods, and feel the pulse of the festival through the rhythm of the streets. For Ketaki, this moment is a reunion of sorts, a chance to be part of something both familiar and new.
Here, in the market, tradition and modern life blend seamlessly. The goods exchanged may be simple, but the act of gathering, of being together in this busy space, speaks to something deeper. It is in these small, everyday rituals that the spirit of the village truly thrives, where the festival is not just about the past, but about living in the present, in all its joyful chaos. The bulls, now honored and adorned, return home, weaving through the crowded market streets, their decorated heads bobbing among the sea of people. But even in this moment of chaos, the village pulses with joy. In the midst of it all, Suraj and Ketaki find their own quiet moment, playful and serene. The bubbles they blow into the air carry with them a certain lightness, a reminder that even in the heart of tradition, there is room for simple, childlike wonder. In this night, under the watchful eyes of history, joy takes on many forms.
In the quiet corner of the village, away from the clamor of the festival, Om found another kind of joy. He asked his grandparents to step outside, not knowing what their reaction would be.
आई बघा आम्ही काय आणले ठीक आहे 2 बैल आणि अजून 2 प्राणी पण आणले आम्ही आणले प्राणी
चला बाबा बाहेर चला ते बघा 2 प्राणी.
But the moment they saw Ketaki and Suraj, masked, playful, transformed into the very animals we honor today, their shock quickly gave way to something else entirely. In that instant, the weight of time, tradition, and even the festival itself seemed to dissolve. It wasn't the ancient rituals or the stories of the land that mattered. This was the festival in its truest form, an expression of joy that knows no bounds, no age. For Om and Ketki's grandparents, it wasn't just the sight of Ketaki and Suraj in their masks. It was the reminder of what it means to be surrounded by love, by family, by laughter that makes you feel young again. As the second day of the festival dawns, the village is quieter, the echoes of yesterday's celebration giving way to a new rhythm. Suraj and Ketaki, accompanied by Ketki's grandparents, have journeyed to Pandharpur, while Ketki's mother heads to Pimpri Chinchwad. The village, though still alive with festival spirit, now shifts focus. Today, it's just Om, his parents, and his uncle left to capture the next chapter of this vibrant festival.
If you thought the village would quiet down after yesterday's celebrations, you would be wrong. Today, the crowd hasn't thinned, it's grown, just like the energy of this festival. The streets are still alive with the same joy, the same anticipation. Today, the heart of the festival returns to its roots. As we turn our attention to today's festivities, where strength and tradition clash in the wrestling matches, and the market beckons with its array of treasures, the village's story unfolds in new and exhilarating ways. Join us as we dive into the spirit of Day 2, where the power of tradition meets the allure of commerce, and every moment is a celebration of life. The festival moves with a new purpose. While the energy of Day 1 was about tradition and ceremony, today is about strength and celebration. The wrestling matches are set to begin, and the market is ready for those seeking the treasures of the festival. And the crowd, far from fading, remains at the heart of it all, alive with excitement, with pride, with a love for this land and its traditions.
Beyond the clamor of the market and the power of the wrestling arena, the festival at Mahalunge Padwal holds space for something older, something sacred. Kalji Chura, an ancient tradition of debate, takes center stage today. Here, two groups don't just compete in sport, but in knowledge and wit. Their words carrying the weight of legends, gods, and centuries of belief. The wrestling matches and market may draw the young and the restless, but Kalji Chura belongs to the elders, the guardians of tradition, the keepers of stories. This crowd is made up of those who have heard these stories for decades, who know the legends, the gods, the moral questions posed on this stage. The best thing about any event is the freshly prepared sweets.
Not everyone seeks the stage or the sound of debate. In the quieter corners of the village, some of our elders sit apart from the crowd, content with the simple pleasures of the day. They watch the festival from a distance, just as it has watched them over the years. But today, he wanted to pull them into the story, if only for a moment. They stood for the picture, not because they needed to, but because, deep down, they knew they were part of this festival, this village, this moment in time. What began as a simple request for a photograph grew into something more, a ripple of joy that spread through the group, drawing more and more elders into the moment. It was as if this small act of being seen, of being celebrated, ignited a spark they hadn't felt in a while.
चला मस्त.
This is the Hanuman Temple, looked after by the Padwals of Mahalunge Padwal. The third linga, second being the Mahadev of the Mahadev mountain, shown at the beginning of day 2.
Away from the hustle of the festival, the streets of Mahalunge Padwal hold a different kind of story. They whisper of times long gone, of leaders who once walked these very paths, shaping not just the village, but the region.
In the shadow of the festival celebrations lies a place of stillness, a place where faith and legacy are bound together. The Ganpati Temple, cared for by the Awate family for as long as anyone can remember, holds more than just the rituals of devotion. In the heart of this village, where the rhythms of tradition run deep, there is a place where the seeds of knowledge were planted long ago. The Karmavir Bail Pola School, the first branch to be established outside Satara, holds within its walls the hopes of generations. Aman and Aniruddha, two friends who've known Om since childhood, will follow their footsteps through a village that holds as many stories as it does memories. Today, we walk with Aniruddha, following the festival through his perspective. Their laughter, their stories, their shared history will be the lens through which we experience Mhalunge Padwal. Because sometimes, the best way to capture a moment isn't through a camera, it's through the people who live it.
In a village like Mahalunge, it's never hard to find family, they find you. And today, as Aniruddha and Om wander through the heart of the village, it's no surprise to see Om's uncle, quietly taking in the day's events. As the festival dances on around us, some moments demand more than celebration. They demand reflection, remembrance. And in this village, there's no place more fitting for that than the Hutatma Babu Ganu Smarak, a tribute to the bravery, sacrifice, and ideals of a man who stood tall when it mattered most.
A martyr whose name is whispered with pride, whose sacrifice echoes through every street of Mhalunge Padwal. His courage was a flame that refused to be extinguished, a beacon for those who believed in freedom, no matter the cost. Aniruddha, usually the light-hearted one, falls quiet as we approach the Smarak. There's something about standing in the presence of history that humbles even the most light-hearted among us. As we bid farewell to Aniruddha, the streets open up before us, alive with color and noise, a stark contrast to the quiet reflection of just moments ago. This is the heart of the festival, where the pulse of the village beats the loudest. Every step we take pulls us deeper into the crowd, leading us toward the true highlight of today, wrestling.
Here, every street feels like it has a purpose. Each path leads to something worth seeing, but today, all roads seem to converge on one place, the wrestling arena, where tradition meets spectacle in the most physical form of celebration. The streets become more congested, the air thicker with anticipation. It's not just a crowd anymore, it's a current pulling us all in the same direction, toward the wrestling pit, where the strongest and the bravest will prove themselves under the watchful eyes of the village.
In this arena, the pulse of the village beats strongest.
A simple reward, but here it means everything. For the victor, it's not just about the prize, but the pride of winning in front of the entire village, the honor of standing tall in the same ring where their ancestors once fought.
For the elders, this is a reminder of what they once knew, a chance to relive the matches they watched in their youth, or perhaps even fought in themselves. And for the young, this is a glimpse into the village's heartbeat, an unspoken rite of passage. They stand side by side with their elders, learning not just the sport, but the stories and the pride that come with it. This is where tradition steps into the ring, where strength and honor are put on display for all to see. Wrestling isn't just sport here, it's legacy. And today, the stakes are higher than ever. Bail Pola, it's the largest of them all. Here in Mahalunge Padwal, Bail Pola takes on a scale like no other, drawing crowds from neighboring villages, towns, and even cities. What began as a simple celebration of the farmer's bond with his bull has grown into an event that spills through every street, into every home, and into the hearts of everyone who comes here.
Amidst all the celebration, there is a quiet tradition that remains untold by many. On the second day of Bail Pola, no matter how large the crowds or how grand the festivities, there's a path that leads here, toward the Data Mandir, the fourth linga that gave the village its name, Mahalunge. For every villager, no matter their age, this visit is more than a ritual, it's a connection to something greater. It's a pilgrimage made in silence, but felt in every corner of this land. A reminder that amidst the grandness of life, there's always a place for peace. Thus the second day comes to an end, giving way for the third day, the finale of grandeur.
And so, the third day begins, slowly, gently, as if the village itself is taking a deep breath before the grand finale. The morning mist still clings to the fields, and the echoes of yesterday's festivities have softened. But even in this quiet, there's a sense of anticipation. Today, the journey of Bail Pola will come to its crescendo. We follow Aum's mother today. Each ride at the fair tells a story, stories of simpler times, of childhood memories, and of a community that comes together to celebrate. Aum's mother, like many others, finds joy in these timeless attractions. It's a connection to the past and a celebration of the present.
As we step into the prime street on this final day of Bail Pola, the transformation is palpable. What was already bustling with life has grown even more vibrant. The shops are adorned with extra flair, their displays more dazzling, their offerings more enticing. As the festival reaches its zenith, no visit to Mahalunge Padwal is complete without a stop at Nana's Misal. Known far and wide, this eatery is a culinary gem. Today, it's not just the locals who are savoring the flavors, but also relatives who have come especially for the festival. As per Om, Nana's Misal is more than just a dish, it's a taste of homely Mhalunge, a reminder of the simple joys of life. As I take a bite, the blend of spices and the crisp puff come together in a way that's both familiar and comforting. It's a dish that brings back memories of childhood, of family gatherings, and of the festivals we've celebrated together. In the midst of the festival's frenzy, there's a special pause, a moment to reconnect with family. Today, Aum visits his aunt-grandmother, whose home offers a quiet refuge from the celebrations. It's here, in these intimate settings, that the heart of the festival finds its deepest meaning. Within these walls, the festival is felt in a different way. It's in these quiet, personal moments that the heart of Bail Pola is truly felt. For these 3 days, some or the other events take place on the stage. Till then, let's hear about the history of Mahalunge Padwal.
Long before the village settled in its present form, this mountain, known as Holy, was the heart of Mhalunge Padwal. It was here that the old village once stood, where an ancient Hanuman idol still watches over the land. From this very hilltop, the administration of 22 villages was carried out, under the watchful eye of the Patil. Every year, the Patil would light the first holy fire atop this mountain, signaling the start of the celebration for villages far and wide. Gali Bua's mountain, where the ancestors of the village grazed their herds. These mountains tell us that the people of Mahalunge Padwal were once nomadic grazers, moving with the seasons, living by the rhythms of nature. But as time passed and the village lake began to dry, they were forced to migrate, searching for new lands to call home. The confluence of the Delta and Donda streams marked the perfect spot for the village's rebirth. It was here that the people of Mahalunge Padwal settled, building homes and temples where the waters met.
The third night is marked for orchestra, reserved specially for the women of Mhalunge. The first 2 nights have tamasha. As the sun sets on this remarkable festival, Aum finds himself reflecting on the journey shared over these 3 days. Bail Pola has come to an end, but the memories created here will linger long after the last bell has rung. This festival, which began as a tribute to the bond between farmers and their bulls, has become something much more, a celebration of community, heritage, and the enduring spirit of Mahalunge Padwal.
We've witnessed the village come alive with colors, laughter, and music. We've seen traditions passed down through generations and shared in the joy that unites us all. In the end, Bail Pola is more than just a festival. It's a testament to the resilience and unity of a community that comes together to honor its traditions and celebrate its past. It's a reminder that, amidst the chaos of life, there are moments of pure joy and connection that bring us closer to our roots.
As we say goodbye to this year's Bail Pola, let us carry forward the spirit of togetherness, the warmth of family, and the joy of celebration. For in these moments, we find not only our heritage, but also the enduring strength of our community. Until we gather again, may the memories of this festival keep us united and remind us of the beauty in every tradition we hold dear.